The corner was the original building, and that's cast concrete. And then when they started doing additions, this was an addition up to this corner right here, and that's cast iron. And then they did a second addition here, and you can tell because some of the ornamentation is slightly different.
So they were expanding outward and upward.
Every time they wanted to go up, I think they had to go out. My name is Scott Grove, and I'm an artist, sculptor, furniture maker, and I have a unique sort of niche in Rochester where I do architectural reproductions. 30 years ago, an architect came to me and said, "Hey, we know you're a sculptor, and there's a piece of building that we need reproduced. Can you carve a new one and then make a mold of it and then reproduce it out of fiberglass and make shells?" The first job was the Piano Works in East Rochester. So if you look at the Piano Works, the majority of the cornice, which is the top crown molding, if you will, on the building, looks like stone. That's actually all fiberglass.
Okay.
So the Powers building, some pieces are missing, so I'll take a mold off an original and reproduce it out of fiberglass. And the fiberglass won't rust. It's lightweight, it's non-corrosive, so that's a great way of maintaining the integrity of the building. And this particular day, we're basically just doing preventative work. We're drilling holes, and we go with the scope, and we look at the integrity of the fasteners in the building. So every year I come back and we do a section of the building and inspect the building. And that's very honorable from the owner's standpoint. Instead of waiting for it to fall apart.
Stay on that, yeah.
So in fact, you can almost tell there's a lot of pieces that are rusted. You can tell are original cast iron, and pieces that aren't are actually fiberglass. Actually, that's a pretty nice building there. It does wobble, but it will not fall. So. And I'm going to turn the basket. This gets a little jerky here. There we go. So what we do is we drill access holes into the building, and by using a scope, a high definition scope, I can insert the camera into the building and look at the integrity of the bolts. And if the majority of them are good, but every once in a while we find one that looks rusted or starting to squall, and in that case we'll then replace them.
This is cast iron?
This is all cast iron, yeah. And that's not easy because that requires drilling and tapping into the cast iron. And as you can see, we probably have 8 different drills up here and grinders and what have you to work. So it's labor intensive, but it's certainly the right thing to do. We're maintaining the building. And then when we find elements that are loose, we hit things with a sledgehammer. These are all good, but after hitting with a sledgehammer, if it pops off, we'll remove it, and then we'll replace that with fiberglass. And then we'll obviously, if we find an open void, we'll caulk it with the urethane caulk. So that's part of the process. So last year we drilled access holes and rebolted. For example, there's a new bolt, which will come back, and this year we'll paint and recaulk. I've worked on the George Eastman Theater. I've worked on literally every building up and down Main Street. I've done Charlotte Beach. I've worked on buildings in Buffalo in the southern tier, but primarily in Rochester here. The Bausch & Lomb headquarters. That was a big job. That was 90 feet in the air. We actually had scaffolding made because we had to hang the scaffolding off the building to take all this down and reproduce it. This is a 12-part mold. And that's in good shape. Warner Building, which is around the corner on St. Paul. Again, that's all cast iron, and we reproduced all this out of fiberglass. Finials, like this cross here. Again, that cross didn't exist, so out of a photograph, I made a new one. Believe it or not, that's a 7-foot high cross. That's right around the corner here. So they give me a photograph. I look at the photograph and I will carve, sculpt, whatever materials out of clay, wood, plaster, multiple materials. I'll make a new piece, and then from that piece I'll make a mold. That's called a master. Then I make a mother mold, you know, and that from that mother mold, then I will make multiple parts. Yeah. So, and in fact, here's a huge job. The job school in Dundee. Literally everything that's not brick is fiberglass. Wow. Everything we did. So we made 1,200 molds from this particular piece because the old precast was all deteriorated. So that was a huge job. Here, there's Brown's Race, the Interpretive Center. So these are the 2 brackets that I made, and these 2 are the original. There's the part there. So this is just an example. Actually, this is an interesting one. It's inside here, Daniel Powers. The original marble statue is over the Historical Society. So in the 90s, when they renovated this building, they wanted it back. And I won't get into the politics of it, but they weren't able to get the original statue that belonged to this building. But they did allow me to go into the Historical Society and take a mold off of the original marble statue, and then I cast a new one in here out of a casting stone. I'm always expecting the unexpected. So we come with every tool known to man. There are times when you open something up and you're like, wow, there's no bracing here, and so you suddenly have to run home and weld up a brace. So we're both welders, and we can do that. Absolutely, these buildings are wonderful, and most people don't appreciate the buildings. I mean, you just got to look up. I mean, you look at that cornice; it's just spectacular. And most people don't really appreciate that. Everybody's looking down at the sidewalk, but Rochester is full of some great historic architecture.